welcome back to the next video in the series. We're going to be talking about the basic trigonometry. This will be typically at the very end of a foundation paper or start maybe the middle of a higher paper. Trigonometry is not that difficult, it's just a bit harder to wrap your head around. So trigonometry, the way it's got a rule, everything's got a rule, it's got a formula, should I say. So the way I remember it is SOHCAHTOA. This is probably the way you've been taught how to do it. It is really nice. If you do physics, I presume you would. Essentially, it's just 3 micro formula triangles. So if we have a look, we have got sin, SOHCAHTOA. I presume you know how to use triangle formula triangles. So yeah. So the question we've been given here is, actually 90. We have been given an angle, a side. We've been trying to work out another side. The way we know this is a trigonometry question, not a Pythagoras question, is because it involves an angle in a question. Because Pythagoras, the whole point of Pythagoras is trying to find a side using other sides. But for this one, we're trying to find either an angle or a side using either an angle or a side. So yes, let's start off with labelling the side of a triangle. So if you've seen a previous video, we know that this is the hypotenuse, because it is always opposite the 90 degree, or the square angle. The next one is the opposite, or O, which is always opposite the angle, obviously. And then the one left is A, which is adjacent to the 90 degree and the angle we're given. So this gives us OA. The triangle doesn't always look like this. It could be different shapes and sizes, but as long as you know that the hypotenuse is always opposite the 90 degree, the opposite is always against the angle, and the adjacent is just either the one left or the one adjacent to these two, you should be set. It is extremely important that you do label these and you label them correctly, because if you do this wrong, you could use a wrong pyramid, which would mess up your entire calculation. Now, let's just quickly rub this off here. Right. To solve this, we have got our opposite and our adjacent. So if we look down in our pyramid, we try to find the ones which have got the opposite and adjacent. And if we look down here, we have got TOA, which is tan opposite adjacent. So if we write this up here, tan opposite adjacent. So if we put this in, we have got our tan, which is tan 39, our opposite, which is our x, and our 12. So we know in order to find x, we have to do tan 39 times 12. So if we put this into our calculators, tan 39 times it by 12. Tan 39 times 12, it should give us 9.717, which equals 9717. So that should give us this one. A way you could double check it, again, as always, like Pythagoras, is you could do it the opposite way. Yeah, you can do it the opposite way. So if we rub this out quickly, to prove that it is 12.30, whatever it was, we can use O instead of the 8. So if we go back here, we've got our tan 39, but this time using our opposite, which is, what was the opposite? Which was 9.7. So in this instance, 9.7 is on the top, so we do 9.7 divided by tan 39. And if we put this into our calculator, it spits out a number of 12 to be exact. Here's the proof. So that proves that the method we did before works for the angle side. Yeah, there's essentially the basics of trigonometry to find the side. Now the next part of the video we'll be discussing a slightly more difficult topic, which is finding the angle in a triangle using the sides. Not much more difficult, again like Pythagoras, it's just a bit different. See you in a second. Welcome back to the second part of the video. This is more aimed towards those higher students watching the video, which is finding the angle of a triangle using SOHCAHTOA or trigonometry. So again, going back to basics, if we look back at our formula, triangles or SOHCAHTOA, we can solve this. So the first step is to always label the sides of our triangle. Now this is our hypotenuse because it is opposite our 90-degree angle. We have got our opposite here, it is opposite the angle, and this leaves us with the adjacent. Now, if we look at what we've got our hypotenuse and our opposite. So looking up here, which one suits it? We have got our opposite and our hypotenuse. So we know we're using sin. So originally we would have done sin, I don't know what the numbers are, to find the angle, but this time we're doing the inverse of that. So what we'll do is we would click Shift and Sin on our calculators, which should pop up like that, sin -1. And then it comes out with a big bracket. Now if we divide, if we look back here, we know that opposite will be on the top here, because it is on top here. We do 12 over 17, which should pop out with our answer. So if we type that into our calculator, sin 12/17, that gives us an answer of 44.9. So we know that x equals 44.9. So yeah, as I said again, as long as it's a right angle triangle, this should work for it all the time. It does work for it all the time. So yeah, I hope you didn't find it too difficult. Hope you stayed along with it this time. Bit of a longer video today because there's a lot to cover. So yeah, some words of advice. Always write out your formula triangles because it just helps you visualize it. Always label your sides so you don't get this part wrong, because you don't get marks deducted for doing that. If anything, you might get a few marks. Those are working out marks. And then go from there. Have confidence. Don't go too fast. And yeah, keep your revision up. Grade 9 inbound. See you later. On to the next one.